morning. It is Friday, June the 3rd, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. This is a special meeting of the Oaks Public School Board. We are in the Oaks Public Schools conference room, and we are also meeting by Zoom. All board members are present, as well as Superintendent Getz, Carrie Haugen, and Mrs. Sell here in the conference room. Let's stand and say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is a special meeting, and the agenda is before you and cannot be changed. The first order of business is a business manager agreement with Valley City Public Schools. I sent this to you yesterday. I had received this from one of the regional education associations as a sample of what they use with one of the districts that they work with. I adapted it and shared it with Mr. Van Orde and Mr. Johnson at Valley City Public. They're in agreement. Sheila pointed out last night that in Article 2, the word mileage appears twice. I did not change that. It seems relatively insubstantial. So I would ask approval of this business manager agreement. It will end as of June the 30th, Mr. Van Orde's retirement date with Valley City Public Schools. And then we will, between now and then, depending on the status of our business manager hiring, we will work with Mr. Van Orde to determine what he'll be doing with us going forward. So I would entertain a motion to approve this business manager agreement with Valley City Public Schools.
I'll make a motion.
Rosendahl moves. Is there a second?
I will second.
Nagel seconds. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? I would just point out that it will be presented to the Valley City School Board on at their regular June meeting, and we don't anticipate any concerns, but it is pending their approval, and we will act as though it's going to be approved. So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes. The second item of business is to approve the sale of the band uniforms oh, I'm sorry.
Bank authorization.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because I didn't print a new one. I added that. Yes, we need banking authorizations. What are our needs or recommendations for the banking authorizations? Just to authorize Mr. Van Orde to be a signer and then carry out getting that done at our local institutions.
Yes, I will need authorization to move monies at the three banks. I would not remove April at this point. It would just be adding me to the signature card that's up there.
Is it only at Starion?
It would have to be all three because we
All
move
three
monies
banks. So
between.
Starion, Bank North.
It should
and
be
First
three. Yep.
Virginia.
Yep.
Okay.
All three of them. Yep.
So I would entertain a motion to add Mr. Van Orde as an authorized signer at our accounts at all three of our local financial institutions, being Starion, First Community Credit Union, and Bank North.
I'll make that motion.
Heimbach makes that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thorpe seconds. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? I will, if necessary, I'll work because I think I must be a signer at one or more of those. And so April and I and Mr. Van Orde will work together to get that accomplished as soon as possible. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion passes. The next item now is to approve the sale of the band uniforms. By way of background on this, in the early to mid 1960s, the band mothers worked hard and had a lot of fundraisers and bake sales, I assume, and they bought wonderful, beautiful new band uniforms that I wore when I was in band in the 70s, and they are now outdated. We have purchased different uniforms, and they are taking up space. And it is, I believe it's the recommendation of the superintendent that he's checked out with the department, that they are no longer of use to the district, so they can be sold. And we had a group of volunteers who have undertaken the project of inventorying and are offering those for sale between now and through the upcoming reunion and beyond, I presume. So we thank them for that, and I would entertain a motion to approve the recommendation of the superintendent to sell the band uniforms.
I will make that motion.
Nagel makes that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rosendahl seconds. Is there any discussion?
Do we know how they're selling them? Is it an online thing? Is it?
They're going to be promoted online and through posters. I think they've, I did just ask them because they just got the posters or the publicity ready to go. I think Wednesday. I said, we're going to act on this on Friday morning. So maybe if you just hold off, then blast it out then. I will let them know right after we meet that it's been approved. And I would also add, I think I forgot to mention that the fundraising, the proceeds would be for the use primarily, at least to begin with, to create some display space for music awards that have been earned over the years in the district. So is there any other discussion or questions? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion passes. The next item on our agenda is the recommendation for 2022 Hall of Fame inductees. And we typically name these inductees at our regular June school board meeting, which will not be until June 20th. I thought it would be appropriate to have this on the agenda today so that our inductees will be known and public and can be celebrated prior to the all-school reunion and during the all-school reunion. The ceremony will still take place at homecoming. I looked at the school calendar. That would be Monday, September the 12th, the same day as the homecoming coronation program. We did receive several new submissions this year, and we received a few updates from previous year's nominees. So as in recent years, I have not been a part of the selection. I've designated a committee of 3 people who've graciously agreed to review and recommend these inductees. 2 of these, the people who have served on this task force for me are OHS alumna. The 3rd is not, because I valued having someone that didn't grow up here and from outside the experience of the district, and as having a set of fresh eyes for that. So this year, the committee has recommended the induction of 2 very worthy individuals to the Oaks Public Schools Hall of Fame. First, I'm pleased to report that 1974 Oaks High School graduate and retired Brigadier General, former commander of the North Dakota National Guard, David B. Anderson, and he was nominated by Bill Schmitz. Secondly, former Oaks High School principal and superintendent Arthur Conklin, who was nominated by Carrie Haugen, Tom Van Orney, and Larry Engel. So I would entertain a motion to approve David B. Anderson and Arthur Conklin as the 2022 inductees to the Oaks Public Schools Hall of Fame.
I will make that motion.
Moved by Nagel. Is there a second?
Second.
Heimbach seconds. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion passes. I will notify those that nominated the inductees, as I typically do, to allow them to notify the inductee or their families.
Very well deserved.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is an update on administrative positions. We have, as you saw, approved the business manager services agreement with Valley City Public Schools through June 30th, 2022. I have had some additional interest in the position since we extended the application period to June 16th. In addition, I asked Carrie and Maureen to
advertise that and all of our positions very prominently in the school building during the registration for the all-school reunion, not ever knowing who might be thinking of moving back or have a son or daughter or a friend that might be interested. So I'm hoping that yields some additional possibilities for us. After June 16th, the board will evaluate applicants and decide how to proceed. Mr. Van Orney, as I said, has agreed to continue to assist us part-time at least with service support, training of new personnel after he retires from Valley City Public School on June 30th. On the superintendent position, Mr. Getz remains our superintendent until July 31st, 2022. We expect him to, and he has continued to fulfill all duties of superintendent until then to facilitate a smooth transition to a new leadership plan at that time. And I am, and I hope others are too, diligently working towards and thinking about a plan forward. I have some meetings lined up next week to come up with some ideas, and we hope to have some options to consider at our June 20th board meeting. I would also like to thank both April and Mr. Getz for continuing to fulfill their roles as best we can. And thank you to Tom and Valley City Public Schools for stepping up and helping us in this time. Just for those that don't know, board members and staff, Tom had us busy from 8 a.m. to 5:30 yesterday, and lots of things were accomplished. And Tom, I think, is in good shape, knowing where we're at with budget and facilities, and helping us to get ready for our June board meeting and for our opening of school in August. So with that, are there any questions, board members? All right. With that, I'll declare the meeting adjourned at 7:42 a.m. Thank you. Hope you didn't drive in just for this, Anna.
No, I had some